So let's do pull-ups, push-ups.
Okay.
Pull-up, push-ups. Air squats are kind of dumb. That's pretty much it that we can get to failure fast, right?
Yeah, so we just kind of die.
And we didn't plan this.
Not a bit.
No. So Jake, you're welcome. Hook him up. This conversation was super fun. We talked about software, marketing, distribution, the right way to create content, the right way to engage a Facebook group, and really just understand how to pre-sell your software so you get what's called customer financing. Because I believe, and it's a big thing I'm going to keep kind of harping on, that crowdfunding has really brought the cost of failure to zero if you choose to embrace it. Or you can do the opposite. What a lot of entrepreneurs do is invest in software, build, only to find out that nobody actually wanted it. So this conversation was super fun. We did it in my gym that I'm a business partner in, and we even got a bit of a workout. Hope you enjoy. Cool. Mike, what's up, man?
Not too much.
Cool. What are we talking about today?
Onramp.
Okay.
Onramp is something I've built to help CrossFit gyms get more members by helping them automate their marketing and onboarding.
So it's called Onramp.
Yeah.
What does it do?
What it does is it gives gym owners the ability to create multiple landing pages, connect those to Facebook or any other platform that they want to. It captures the lead. It gets that lead to make a booking. It handles all the other bookings.
Does it set up the sequence for messaging after the fact?
Yeah, it has automatic emails built into it.
Cool.
It also integrates both text and Facebook messages as well as emails all in one place.
So in the lead capture, you collect email and cell number?
Yeah.
Cool. And then what's the sequence, and then we're going to talk about the business, but what's the sequence post capture? Like, what's the timeline? What's the message structure?
Sure. So what happens is that they come in, they enter their lead information. The thank you screen actually has a place where they can book an available time slot.
Cool. So post opt-in thank you page.
Get them right away.
Awesome.
So then we book the intro. About half the people at our gym book right away. The other ones are kind of subsequent where we get in touch with them.
Yeah.
There's an email sequence that goes out. But we also will usually reach out by text message as well.
Yeah.
And the system will show you if the email got delivered and opened.
Cool.
Or if the text got delivered, etc.
So are we sponsored by Compete Every Day, or is it just a
Yeah, I know, these are kind of awesome. So.
Yeah. I was like, I have my shirt in the car, I'm just going to put it on.
Yeah, great gear.
Yeah, it worked out great. So how long has the business been around? And really, like, how long have you been an entrepreneur? Because I know you're also, that's why we're doing it here in a CrossFit gym. You're a CrossFit owner. You have another business. I believe you're a lawyer?
Yeah, well, I practiced law for 6 years.
Okay.
Got out of that about 98. Worked with a couple of tech companies like Unisys and LexisNexis. And I have a system that does online searching of judgments in PEI.
Okay,
that
cool.
a lot of lawyers use,
Yeah.
and I've worked with other companies and countries doing that. About 4 or 5 years ago, kind of did a little bit of a tangent into some gym software.
Yeah.
Didn't like what I was using.
What was that called?
Member Tracker.
Okay, and that's free, or no, there was a competition program you built too.
It's Comp Tracker, which I built for
Member
CrossFit
Tracker,
gyms.
Comp Tracker, and now Onramp.
Yeah. So Comp Tracker was something free for gym owners to use to run their competitions.
Yeah.
And that's still out there, and a lot of the gyms still use it.
Yeah.
And it does all the scoring
I
as
think
well.
we've used it, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay, we can say yes just to
Sure, we'll say that. It sounds great.
Awesome, you guys use it, great.
A lot of them in the Maritimes use it and across the country. Then Member Tracker was payment software that I built both for my Taekwondo school and for my CrossFit gym.
Yeah.
It also automated attendance. It uses their...
You have a Taekwondo school and CrossFit?
Yeah.
And,
well,
and a business full time?
Yeah, well, it's
when do you sleep?
I'm ADHD, so it works out really well. Cool. I can get a lot of things done. But the Member Tracker was also attendance tracking. It used their phones to check them in when they show up for class.
Yeah.
And then payment stuff. But about 8 months ago, we moved into our new space for our CrossFit gym.
Onramp.
Yeah.
New space, physical space, new gym.
Yeah, so CrossFit 72,
which
was our gym. We had about 110 members at our old location that was located in my Taekwondo school. We bought our own building, we moved in, and we started getting a lot of traffic both through Facebook and just our new location.
Why do you care about fitness? And I know it's a weird...
It allows me to do what I do better. I'm better at work, I'm better at home with my family. My wife and daughter both do CrossFit with me.
Cool.
I've done Taekwondo now for over 30 years. I'm a 7th degree black belt in that.
So this is your way of just bringing it to the community, doing something you love to do.
Well, and it's something like Comp Tracker I built to help us do a competition we were doing to aid Special Olympics, and we want to give all the money back. So I just kind of built this thing to add on to it. And
did you have a dev team? How'd you build it?
I built it myself.
Okay.
So
like you coded it?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I love coding. It's fun.
Yeah.
So built that. Member Tracker, same thing, but I kept bolting stuff onto Member Tracker when we moved. I said, okay, we need some landing pages. Okay. Yeah. We need something to kind of track people through the pipeline as they move, but basically like a CRM for gyms.
Yeah.
I need something that'll automate the emails. So I kept kind of bolting stuff on, and as I talked to gym owners about Member Tracker, they said, oh, well, can I get, I got the payment system figured out. I've already got something for that, but can I get the Member Tracker landing pages and the emails and
so there was iterations though, because Onramp is new. Did you feel like the Member Tracker or whatever was kind of like slow to get market adoption, and then?
There was a lot of competition in that area. You have players out there like Zen Planner, very well established, and they're a great product.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of competing against them. So we really just kind of took a lot of the stuff that our people liked. Yeah. And
which
focused
is kind of
on
top of funnel, which is members, attracting members, and then getting them on board once you get the conversion.
Exactly. A lot of gym owners were telling me they're struggling with Facebook ads and what to do with it, and they were cobbling together lead pages and some other stuff to kind of respond back, like Infusionsoft, which is quite expensive when you're trying to tie all these other things together.
You really only got a couple campaigns.
Exactly.
So what would make our conversation perfect for you? Like what would you hope to accomplish?
We were kind of at a stage, we built Member Tracker back in about April, kind of spun it off as its own thing, had a bunch of gym owners get really interested in it. We actually have a gym marketing Facebook group with about 300 gym owners in it.
I've just teaching them marketing strategies.
Exactly.
So that's like your inbound content?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we've kind of kept early access pretty limited to about 10 people. We're working on our onboarding. We're using Intercom for that, which is great. So now at this stage, we're getting comfortable with the product. I'm not sure if we're at product market fit there. I'm not sure if you ever are, but you keep iterating. So now we've got to kind of start developing the growth and marketing channels to get people in the door. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to make sure the onboarding was tight. And also that we're getting good, product out there. So.
Do you have a wait list right now outside of the 10 that are using the product?
I've got a number of people who are really interested in it.
But nobody on the wait list?
Not a wait list per se.
Cool. I would start building the wait list, and I would take deposits.
Oh, okay.
So what do you charge right now per month?
The early access is $50, but the regular price will be $100 a month.
Okay, cool. I would get some level of commitment, maybe 100, and it's not to like say that it's 100 for a year or anything. Okay. A lot of people that do pre-sales will usually get 50% off their first year. Okay. So instead of $1,200, it'll be $600, and then they'll get grandfathered into that monthly price, but then they'll be monthly in the second year. That's a very traditional model. I'm just a fan of saying, okay, we've got 10 that we're working with to get product that we're going to iterate with, but we have a backlog of people with commitment because it's just too easy, and there's no cost to the person to put an email in to say, hey, let me know when we launch.
Yeah, I've got about 40 emails of people who are just like, yeah, put me on when it's ready.
Yeah, so I would take that list, email them out and saying, hey, we're prioritizing based on commitment, and just to show that we're both on the same page, we're just asking people to put a $50 or $100 deposit, and then that's going to kind of prioritize. Truth is, if your product allows them to make at least one sale, which minimum on a monthly basis, if you even build any kind of campaigning, you're going to get that outcome, especially with the text messages.
Get and keep one new member and it pays for itself.
Exactly. So if they're not willing to put 100, that'll give you some feedback, which I think is important to understand, because when you ask for money, all of a sudden they start thinking about like, what does the competitive landscape look into? And that's probably what you discovered in the previous product is like, people try to compete on price, but it usually never wins, even in a freemium space. Like freemium, essentially what you're doing is you're transferring marketing dollars. Right. Where you're saying, instead of spending money on marketing, I'm going to give away the product for free. My bet is the users are going to use the product and they're going to market it for me, word of mouth, and then a small percentage are going to pay. So essentially you're just transferring the economics of, do I pay up front or do I pay it through free product, and then on the back end through word of mouth I get to monetize it. Right. So that would be the first thing. You have a wait list or 40 people that say they're interested, get them to put a financial commitment. If you just called it $1,200 lifetime value of a customer, that's really great. Yeah. Usually at 150 to 200, usually the 2,000 a year annual contract value to 5,000 is when you can start investing on inside salespeople, which allows you to really amp up the sales. Because at the end of the day, unless you're doing freemium, even freemium, like Slack and Dropbox, they have sales teams. They just essentially let from like 0 to 100 employee-sized companies use the product for free, and they have like kind of micro prompts in the product to like say like, oh, do you need to talk to somebody? Maybe it's because they installed an integration, or they hit a certain limit of messages or whatever.
They qualify off of that.
Yeah, they essentially use that as a kind of a trigger to segment and put it in front of an SDR, sales development rep, and then that kicks it off to an account executive, et cetera. So what's great about a $1,200 price point is you have that ability, so that's amazing. So then it's the decision on like, where do I spend my money? And to me, it's what's in your DNA. It sounds like the community aspect, the group right now, is a winning strategy for you. Like you like that, right?
Love it, yeah.
Yeah,
great.
perfect. So then that I think you take as a core concept and you just broaden it a little bit more. So right now it sounds like private Facebook group is a really good mechanism. You could just run ads right now to CrossFit owners. Is that how you filled it so far?
Somewhat, yeah. I've got an email list I built of about 2,000 CrossFit gym owners, and that's just by interacting with people on the CrossFit Affiliate Owners page and putting some free content up there that people have asked
What's
me for.
the group called?
My group, Gym Marketing.
Okay, so gym marketing. So you've not run paid ads to get members for gym marketing.
No.
That would be low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like just targeted, gym owners, and we all know the same people in the space that are selling to those customers. So you can create lookalike audiences, and just build that free group.
Yeah.
So that's one really great strategy. And then what I would do is it's kind of the ask method. So Ryan Levesque has this book called Ask.
Read it. It's good.
Yeah, great book. So the core concept is produce the content that's most relevant to your customers based on asking them. So in the group, ideally, once every 2 weeks, you're prompting them for their top challenge when it comes to running a gym. Many of them will already post it because it's their Q&A in the private Facebook group. But if not, you prompt them. Those answers, verbatim, the language they use becomes your content marketing.
Yeah.
The best way to leverage content marketing is through OPN, other people's networks.
Right.
So a lot of people make the mistake of writing or creating content for their own blog. The problem is that you still don't have distribution.
Exactly, and that's kind of what if I want to 10x from 10 to 100 to 100
You can't. It's a good thing to have content on your blog so that you look relevant, especially for your product blog, the Onramp blog.
Right.
But you could get away of saying, what are the top 5 challenges that one of my customers run into? If you had to name 5 hot buttons, what would those be?
Facebook marketing.
1.
Getting clients in the door.
2.
Automatic emails
3.
and onboarding.
What about the sales script for the conversation when they have the session book?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
they don't know what to say.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought of that. That's good. And
that's a big one.
I just created a new member messaging kit.
There you go.
That I gave, and I did that based on a poll I did on the Facebook page. I didn't do it open-ended, but I did.
So the cool part is you get 5 of these pillar pieces of content that if you ask anybody in a gym, what are your top challenges? It's usually around marketing, messaging, converting, retention. At the end of the day, it's business. Those are the big levers, right? You create those 5 pieces of content, you put those on the blog, you take the dates off, and then that way it's evergreen. If I come to your site and I look at the blog, and really the answer to the blog, the question the customer's having when they visit your site on the blog is, are they experts?
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, when you buy a software, you're deferring your need to innovate through the company and the product that you pay for. So I don't need to figure out what's the best fitness program. I just go to CrossFit and I trust that the CrossFit coaches are going to continue to push that. Software is the same thing. People are going to use your product Onramp because they're assuming that you're going to bring to them the best practices for attracting, converting, and getting clients in their gym. Does that make sense?
No, totally.
So the blog needs to show that. But outside of that, then you take those questions and you produce content and you get distribution on other blogs. If you had to name 5 blogs that speak to gym owners, what would they be?
There's a number of them out there.
Regardless of their competition.
Yeah, I was going to say, you
just,
look at, Zen Planner's got a big following. Barbell Logic, there's a lot of people on it.
Yeah.
The bigger ones, I guess, are just like some of the magazines.
Yeah.
Box Business or The Box.
Yeah.
And all that.
So what's cool is you take the top challenges that are current in your community, language, you pitch the idea. So this is a mistake a lot of content producers make is they produce the content.
Yeah.
I've always, when I was building Flowtown, we did a blog 350,000 uniques a month. Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
Within 8 months.
Wow.
This is a strategy. We said, okay, we did 2 things. Who has the audience that we want to get our content in front of? Who's got the data, because this was a unique hook that we were doing. We were doing data pieces, so data visualizations. Okay. Who's got the unique data? And then we would actually take the data. So let's say LexisNexis had a data set that was interesting to social media marketing.
Sure.
we would then find Mashable, TechCrunch, Forbes, whoever, and we'd say, hey, we've got this unique piece of data. We have this article we want to write. We're looking for placement. Do you want to co-create it with you? It'll be placed on Forbes, but on the next day we get to publish it on our blog.
Right.
We'll pay for the creation of it. You guys just got to commit to publishing it.
So that's a great idea.
Right?
Yeah.
Then you've got distribution, and if there was a data set you got from a survey from your group, if you could actually approach another group and say, hey, we want to ask these 5 questions, and from that we're going to actually create this ebook, and we'll co-create it with you. You just have to promote it, but underneath there is like created by them and you, right? Which, especially if it's a news outlet that's different than a software. So you guys are the software. If they're the news outlet, if they're the authority, then there's really no like they're used to having people pay for a placement. This is essentially your payment is in the form of really high quality content.
Yeah, you'll see Beyond the Whiteboard do that on the CrossFit
100%.
site.
That's the way to do it. So that would be the content strategy that's unique that most people don't think of. Instead, they do a lot of content on their own site. They then do this spam process of getting link backs to their articles through people. Like I get those emails every day, like, hey, could you link up this article to this post? And I'm just like, come on. So don't do that. Instead, co-create with the outlet.
Okay, like that.
Yeah, and then that way, and then what's neat is then, so wherever you get the question from within your community, when you get the content created, go back and submit it as an answer to the comment.
Right.
That'll create incredible goodwill within the Facebook group. Because they're like, man, not only were you listening, you actually went and produced this stellar piece of content for my community. Some people are really good at marketing, right? They're like great at paid ads, they're great at landing pages, they're great at copy. And for those clients, I'm just like, hey, just amplify the crap out of that. It's in your DNA, don't fight it. If you feel like your best, where the water settles for you, if you like kind of poured it on the ground, it's like towards that kind of strategy, I think you're gonna get the best ROI from it. So really leaning into that. Another thing that works really well for Facebook groups is interviewing the other members.
Yeah, and I was trying to get some other people to kind of contribute more in the Facebook group. Thus far, it's just been mostly me. So if I can kind of
So what I do is just set up a Calendly, set up a schedule, have members that get wins. So people like post it like, hey, anybody got any bright spots, any wins? People like, oh, I just signed up 16 members.
That's a great idea.
And then grab that person and say, hey, I'd love to schedule an interview for you, 15 minutes. Get on, hey, John from this gym, how did you get 15, 25 members in the last month? Here's what I did, here's the strategy. Ask the questions to deconstruct it. Take that video, post it in the group. It does a lot of things. It also allows the people that are in the group to start to get to know the other members.
Yeah.
See, I've always had a problem when a group brings in experts because I know within the group we've already got people.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I've had some Facebook marketers who work with gyms actually want to join the group too. And I said, as long as you share, that's great. But if you're just going on there and direct messaging people and poaching, then no, we're not good with that.
So I think that's a really good kind of the rules of engagement law of the land to set.
Okay.
But that would be foundational stuff. And then it would be, I would say, amplifying the content. So what I've seen, and I'm starting to play around this concept called the brand builder funnel, which is taking the content. I have a lot of friends that do really well on paid ads. And some of them, what they're doing is they're shooting 20-minute videos and they take anybody, so they create custom audience bases on engagement. So it used to be like, let's run ads against this content, it's 100% free. We're gonna take the people that click through. So we take those 5 hot button posts, we put it on Facebook, and then of the people that click through, we create a sub audience on that, and then we run lead magnets to just that to start to build the conversions. What they're doing now is doing that with video. So do a 20-minute video on how to increase your members or whatever, those top challenges, and only people that watch 10 minutes plus that you then run the ad against.
Retarget.
The thing that you offer for free is really a checklist, which it sounds like you've created the...
I did a social media checklist as well. That actually to my email list got
what was the one you say you just created?
New member messaging and starter kit.
So that would be the lead magnet. So I would do a new member messaging video.
Yeah.
Don't sell anything. Don't come off as salesy at all.
No.
Anybody that watches more than 10 minutes, you do a 20-minute video, then you remarket those people to the checklist.
Right.
And then you start.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. What about webinars as far as...
Webinars always happen on the back end of the lead magnet. So the webinars work really well, especially if you have an audience. It says you had 2,000 people on the email list.
Yeah.
That's the way to pre-sell the software. You know, if you've been following my stuff for a while, like my big thing is how do I sell enough of the software? I mean, and people always like, oh, you need to build it to sell it. It's not true. I mean, we got crowdfunding that proves that people are willing to throw down millions of dollars without ever receiving a product based on a video. So if that's true in crowdfunding, it's true in any software. So I've worked with clients that have sold $500,000 worth of software without any product being built off screenshots.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So it's a numbers game. You got to get people on the webinar. The webinar registration, I think you want to run one cold to or warm traffic to your audience.
Right.
So you get the 2,000 people, invite them to the webinar, teach them the 3 things they need to do to get.
Well, I was thinking like Facebook ads and all that, and then.
So here's the interesting part: is
that
the best. Yeah, the best webinars teach the thing your software does for them.
Yeah.
So your software doesn't teach people how to create Facebook ads.
True. Okay.
So I wouldn't teach that.
Right.
I would teach them how to create a great Facebook landing page, because your software offers that, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's one.
Okay.
What are the other core features your product does?
Well, the messaging.
That's 2.
You know, the
One,
ability to just book the intros.
3.
The fact that we integrate with Google. All
Yeah.
that stuff.
So literally your webinar teaches 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Your turn is, hey, I just showed you how to do this, and I know it's going to just crush for your business. At this point, usually people start asking me questions about tools and time and where do they find it because they're busy in their schedule. Would you guys be open to if I shared kind of a tool that we've built to help people do this a lot faster?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, yes, please, because you just showed them how to do it, but they've also done the math in their head. They're like, this is another 3 things I now have to do, and I can't even find time to breathe, let alone create a Facebook page, don't know what the copy looks like, set up the email campaigns. I know you gave me the templates, but what's the right way to do this, and what tool should I use? And you're like, hey, I've got this tool. Do you want to learn more about it?
Yeah.
They go, yes. What's neat is, and this is why it's important, because if you think about it, if I taught the Facebook stuff and I wasn't selling a Facebook tool, it's almost like I want to teach them the best practices on how to get outcomes, because at the end of the day, you got to be the person that gets some results, whether they use your product or not. That's marketing. That's education-based marketing. Before they ever become a customer, get them a result.
Yeah.
And you've been following my stuff, so about the turn, so I give, and then for a very small percentage of people that want my specific advice, and even doing these videos is kind of my way to do even more. They come into my world, but there's a strategy to it, because if you were to teach stuff that your product can't serve, it's kind of like. You could teach, so you have software for on-ramping at a gym, right? You could teach accounting.
Yeah.
And people would need that and they'd want it, but it's not strategic. It's not marketing. People need to understand that marketing is not just teaching for the sake of teaching. Marketing's purpose of content is to move them down the funnel.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people confuse. They're like, oh, I'm doing marketing. It's like, what does that content have to do with getting somebody closer to? Isn't that interesting? There was nothing in that interaction that got them thinking, this is the guy that's going to help me solve this problem.
Yeah, and I think that's why the first webinar I did was on Facebook marketing and all that, and I did the turn. And my concept on the turn was that, oh, well, we're getting you a lot more leads. Now we'll help you process them. But I don't think I was quite close enough in the connection. There's too much of a disconnect.
Everybody wants to teach the thing that makes what they're doing apparently clear. Yeah. My thing is teach them how to do manually what your software automates.
Yeah.
So if we were playing this game and we were talking about project management software, I would teach them how to do project management in a manual way.
Yeah, critical path, all that
critical
kind of
path,
stuff.
Yeah, outcome goals, how to create to-do list, how to delegate, how to do all these parts.
Yeah.
So that they go, wow, that's amazing, but now I feel overwhelmed, and I go, hey, do you want to talk about some software that might help you get that done this afternoon? And they're going, of course.
Yeah.
Then it makes sense because you've got them. Sometimes it's interesting where people sometimes forget the pain that they're in, and we just got to remind them. And I think that it's really great, right? It's just, you just got to remind them, right? That, hey, I know you feel like you're doing, it's just like your gym, right? Your monthlies is probably above the average for most people, right?
Yep.
But yet the other people that aren't there would almost feel good about where they're at, because they would think oh, I'm doing good for my city. But if you say, well, oh, did you know Canada is 155? That's the number I know. I don't know if it's true, but 155 a month for my gym, and I'm at 115. All of a sudden, 115 doesn't seem as good as the 155, which is the average for the year.
Right.
You have to remind them that. You have to remind them that, oh, you see all these gyms that are doing really well. You watch Orange Theory as a franchise, and you're like, I want to have more structure like an Orange Theory. Then you have to kind of ask yourself or teach them, here's what they're doing. This is the gap, right? You need to say like, here's what you want, here's what you're at, this is the gap, and our software is gonna help you accomplish that.
Because people either don't know or they forget it. We had a girl in the other day who I met at regionals in 2009, ran a gym, and I took her through the software, she's from Ontario. She goes, where was this when I was running the gym, right? So she's actually given us 2 more people now to sell to.
Yeah.
So like I said, she didn't know the issue.
Most people don't know that this is a thing, right? They don't even know that, you know, most people don't even want to do a sales, like how many of your clients have a allergic reaction to the idea even of a sales appointment, yet you call it a no sweat intro, you call it a, you know, strategy session, you call it whatever you want.
Free intro.
Yeah, free intro, and then all of a sudden now it's approachable, and it's like, but that's even the right way to do it for the customer. Like, I don't know, like this gym is pretty open. If you're new and you walk in, like there should be a wall.
Yeah, because it's incredibly
intimidating.
daunting.
It's like you come in here and you're like seeing all these gladiators work out and die and pass out on the ground and create sweat angels, and you're like, you haven't even ran a mile.
Yeah.
And this is the first experience. Like, I know that, but it's no different online, right? It's like they need to be discussed. They need to have a conversation. They want to feel like it's it's personalized. And I think that most folks that come from a physical training background, they don't have the business side.
Yeah, but they need to start the conversation. That's what a lot of the automated emails we do. We don't replace the conversation. We just basically spur it along and make sure they don't forget about people, have them fall through the cracks, because that's really
so you're
easy to
essentially
happen.
enabling follow-up.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we just streamline it.
So if we were to unpack this, you've got the group you can grow, 10x that. Even before you do that, you're going to get some more deposits so that you can really get some more validated learning, because that's the difference for me. Validated learning means money on the table. Then we're going to do top 5 blog posts for the biggest challenge. That becomes your content that you promote. You can also co-create pieces with folks that have distribution. Okay. And then use that traffic lead magnet, so create some kind of funnel to get them on a webinar. So the webinar prompt would happen post lead magnet. Right. Just like you did on the thank you page, it's your funnel. Yeah. Like you're doing best practices. I'm just showing you the best practice for software, which is give somebody some value that's simple, actionable, goal-oriented, easy. Then on that page, you then say, hey, do you want even more information? Then on the webinar, it's like, hey, do you want to be part of our early adopter program or our founders circle or whatever you want to call that thing? Yeah. And that's how you get prepayments. Because again, I think that the cost of failure can go to 0 if you crowdfund. Yeah. Right? Like the customer should fund the development. It's called customer financing. It's a crazy idea, but to me, that's the right way to build anything. It's the right way to open a gym. It's the right way to start a movement, right? Like
we started our CrossFit gym out of my Taekwondo school with like broomsticks.
Yeah, just say like, who wants to pay to learn this in CrossFit, and just let them contribute. Anything else? No, that's great. Like I said, we're looking at doing maybe some productized services around Facebook ads. We've had a lot of people asking us about that and thought that might be a good way to kind of get started. I like it. So the challenge, so I think it makes a lot of sense to offer services around the core implementation. Yeah, so give them a success. Yes. Your core implementation is not Facebook ads, but the core implementation essentially is using the product. It's just a different business. The Facebook business and marketing is a different business. I've got a few people who are wanting to kind of get involved with that aspect of it, so I thought I might just kind of make them partners. Referral, take 10%. Yeah, exactly, and let them kind of run with it, because if the client's succeeding, we have people coming to us saying, oh, we don't know how to do this, but I want to stay on product. Only thing I would do is add an NPS heartbeat to their work for you. So they're not allowed to do any work without a Net Promoter Score survey. Oh, okay. And unless they keep a 75 plus, they're not a partner anymore. Oh, cool idea. Because you're referring them, the last thing, even, I don't care if you give me 10%. I want my gyms to be happy though. I need you to deliver. And the only way to do that, from my point of view, is have that survey sent 2 weeks after delivery of whatever they offered. Right. And if my clients aren't feeling like they're getting value, I'm just going to find a different provider. There's enough opportunity right now in Onramp to just to focus on it. Right on. Because the ADHD it's powerful, but it can also be... Well, shiny object syndrome. So I would say set a goal, like get it to $1 million ARR. That's like every business, like people always like, well, I have multiple streams of business. I'm like, let's talk numbers, right? Yeah. And usually the numbers aren't $1 million plus in each different business. And I would just say like focus on getting it there and then start looking at opportunity to do more.
Yeah, perfect.
That's awesome.
Awesome, buddy.
Mike, glad you made the drive,
Thank
man.
you. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Thank you. Biggest thing was getting our company to grow kind of past where we are right now. We've done a lot of product development. We're at a stage now where we want to kind of grow from 10 to 100. We're in that kind of area where we need to figure out our growth channels and how best to kind of attack that. Got a lot of great focus on some, basically a checklist of what I need to do next, starting with like a Facebook group that I already established and working within that, figuring out what kind of content people wanted and then how to amplify that content and get more people onto our site through a funnel that we also